Earthquake has started about 35 seconds ago. If it was centered here, it was another 3 to 4 on the Richter scale. Don't know where the epicenter is. So it's still rolling gently, so it's still happening. It's still rolling. So my timer is at 30 seconds, but I started at 30 seconds after the initial quake. So we're over a minute with the rolling of the earthquake. As you can see, the motion in the water jugs, the quake is still occurring. It's not very strong. It started stronger initially. So I grabbed my phone, I grabbed my keys. And it looks like it's over. Maybe. No, it's still rolling. It's a gentle rolling, still going. Going over 2 minutes. This is a very long quake. But here in Pasadena, it's a very gentle roll. I can feel it under my feet. I can see it in the water jugs. If you're not paying attention, you would not notice this. If you're blasting music, if you're dancing, or if you're driving, you will not notice this. It's still rolling. The quake is still going. I can feel the building lightly shaking. And it feels like it just went up about 1 on the Richter scale after it had reduced. The quake is still going over 3 minutes now. This is the longest earthquake I have ever experienced. Well, let's pray wherever that center is for those people. I really don't think that the center is here in Pasadena, as these shakes are pretty mild here in Pasadena. But you can see the water. This is my emergency water. It's still rolling, my friend. It's still rolling. And it's kicking up another scale. I'm measuring it at a 3 by my estimation. This is what a 3 would look like. But that's only my guess, not official. But that's if the epicenter was here where I'm standing. I don't know where the epicenter is. I'm busy recording. Hi. Hi. It's still going.
Huh?
It's still happening.
Oh, still happening?
Yes. It's really light.
I
But
don't like how I feel it. I'm just like
yeah, it went over 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Yeah, right now it's happening really light.
Wow.
Wow, guys, it's still going. Now, what can I tell you? Well, I would give the power of the shock waves went down. It's about a 2 to 2.5 now. As you heard me, I was talking to a lady who's not even aware that the motion is even taking place. So that's how low it is right now. But believe me, you can see the water rolling, and I can feel it under my feet. It's definitely still going. And I started it at 30 seconds after it started. So this recording, just add 30 seconds to this recording to see how long it started. Because as it started, I started counting the length of it until I grabbed my phone. Now this could be shock waves on top of shock waves. The first 30 seconds was the strongest. Then it just went down. So the first 30 seconds felt like it might have gone up to high 4 on the Richter scale. So about 30 seconds, it was pretty strong. Then it just went down. Went down to like a 2, and then came back up to a 3. And the building is still trembling. As you can see, I have a live recording on this water. And I'm barefoot on the carpet, so I can really feel the rolling waves under my feet. And I'll just keep this rolling until this earthquake actually stops. Okay, it feels like between a 1 and 2 on, or a 2 on a Richter scale now. Pretty light. So, but the power of this earthquake is a little erratic. It's the longest I've ever experienced, and it keeps bouncing in strength from what feels like a 2 all the way to a 4. And right now it's about a 2, but it's a strong 2, as I can feel still the building move ever so slightly, but I can definitely feel it move. And if you heard me talking to a lady outside, I did not get her on video because, well, I don't have her permission. I didn't ask. And well, she was a rather attractive lady, so I didn't want to get into any kind of trouble. So, but she had no idea. She was driving. She felt a quake. So I'm pretty sure she felt the first 30 seconds. That was strong. But after the first 30 seconds, she could not feel the earthquake any longer. She thought it was over. But look, it is not over. The earthquake is not over. We're going almost to 9 minutes. This is a very long earthquake as far as length and duration. And also, besides the length, which is the most surprising thing, the other thing I'm surprised at is how the earthquake varies in strength from what feels like a 2 all the way to a 4, and keeps jumping and dropping. It's in strength, and still it's a rolling motion. And it's scary when it spikes, you know, from what it feels like a 2 to a 3, and what feels like from a 3 to a 4. But these spikes in power are they're very subtle. They're very subtle. It's a gentle rolling motion, but I can definitely feel the power in this earthquake. So the clock is going to about 10 minutes. I have not moved for a while now. I've been just standing still, flat on my feet, and you can see the water in the water jugs. See the motion in there, and you can pretty much tell the the nature of the shock waves by the motion of the water. If you study some physics, okay, you can see which way the water is moving. It seems to be bouncing a little bit. So it's a little odd to see bouncing water because, okay. Now, right now it's feeling very low, probably down like to a 1. And what we see now, the earthquake might be over because if a garbage truck rolled by or a big rig, it could cause the equivalent of what we're seeing in the water now, and it would feel the same. You would not notice a difference. So we can say this earthquake lasted at least 10 minutes. I'm not sure if it's over because it's barely even noticeable now, and I'm right next to a very busy street. So when there's a lot of traffic and there's a lot of hustle and bustle going on outside, this is how much the water moves. So right now there's no way you can tell if there's an earthquake or not. So, and I haven't paid that much attention to the motion of the water before. So not sure if it stopped though, because it was very gradual. It came to a very slow, very gradual and subtle stop. If it stopped. But as you can see, the water is still moving, so it might still be going on, but it only feels right now like just a 1 on the Richter scale. And I'm in Pasadena, California. Right now it's 8:32 p.m. Pacific time. It is Friday, July the 5th. And I would record other more interesting things, but right at the moment, there is nothing more interesting. You can see that the water increased its activity. Look at the center of the jug. Okay, I'm not doing that. The earthquake is not over apparently, because it just went from a 1 to a 2 as far as what the strength of the quake feels like. And I don't have a Richter scale with me, so when I say these numbers, it's because I've experienced several earthquakes in my lifetime, because I've been a resident of California for so many years, and I have this muscle memory of after feeling a certain earthquake, it would they give the report of what the strength was, and I just have a little sensitive ability to feel how much strength it is, because the one that happened yesterday, when it happened, I guessed it about 3 or 4 here in Pasadena, and later on it was confirmed. So I was correct. So I'm giving that same estimation by the same feeling. Okay, so see, that was a subtle spike in the strength of that earthquake going over 14 minutes now. It had jumped from a 1 to a 2, and you could tell by the increased activity of the water motion in the jugs. But it was very brief. So I'm pretty sure what we saw then was an aftershock that had jumped from a 1 to a 2. And so we're just experiencing shock waves now. We call it aftershocks. All right. And it doesn't look like it's over. Now, geologically speaking, what we felt now, okay, with the duration that it has, we could easily say, well, that's like the next big quake everyone was expecting as a result of yesterday's quake. That's very, very possible. Okay, and if that's the case, that's what everybody was waiting for. It's time to go check for damage and see what happened, especially in yesterday's epicenter. Okay, and hopefully everything's fine over there. I mean, they did say the epicenter was 5 miles deep out in the Mojave Desert. So maybe not too much happened, as not too much was reported yesterday as far as damage, and it really has dropped down now. I really don't feel the rolling much anymore. The strength feels like only a 1, and you can see by the water movement, it's not really doing much. You know, if the water wasn't there, I wouldn't even have any idea that this was even happening. So this is kind of like my improvised Richter scale, just looking at the water jugs. You know, if you guys want to donate some money to my science project, I did study geology, and I will buy a Richter scale, and I will keep you guys up to date on actual facts. If anyone has the money and the generosity to be so charitable, I always wanted a Richter scale of my own and all kinds of scientific measuring tools. Okay. Well, it's been almost 20 minutes, and it's pretty light now, so I I have my doubts if anything else is going to happen. Okay. I did not expect this video to go this long. I was expecting just a brief recording, as so far every earthquake that I've ever experienced, has not lasted more than like 30 seconds. So this is unbelievable. The only thing I don't have is the first 30 seconds of the event. So this video starts 30 seconds after. My other guess is that if this earthquake today, if it wasn't the major aftershock that the scientists, geologists were waiting for, then the other thing that it could be is a pre-shock to another major quake. But let's hope that's not the case. In geology is not a predictable thing, just like the weather is not predictable. All right. And so this geological time scale of a major earthquake every so many years is just recorded patterns. But it's not I really don't think it works that way. I think that's just old science. Well, let's look at the motion here. Okay, why is that water still moving after 18 minutes of the initial shock wave? Okay, well, there's no need to record any further. Thanks for watching. And if I happen to put this on my YouTube channel, if you would be so kind to hit a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate that, because at the moment I have less than 50 subscribers, and well, that's just rather very low as far as subscribers go, and God bless everybody.